High temperatures. Yeah, the fog isn't gonna like this, but so be it. He is at 100% health, so we'll be fine. We went with Sir Francis to Bombay Station to buy our tickets through to Kolkata. The clerk who took our money counted it out fastidiously and then recounted it before issuing us a ticket. A ticket to Calcutta, Sahib. 4 days. No faster way in the world. And there are no issues, no delays? I inquired seriously. No impediments of any kind? Oh no, Sahib. No, none at all. She gave me an edged smile. I should have known she was lying, but we boarded the train in blissful ignorance of our fate. So if you know the novel, you kind of know the story here, right? The railway wasn't finished. Anyways, I'm talking to Monsieur Rajesh. Let's talk about Calcutta to Hong Kong. Singapore. Speaking of steamships, I understand Yokohama is connected to San Francisco by boat. But the fare is over £3,000. Oh my. That is actually quite a lot. Singapore to Batavia? Port Moresby? Enough talking. Never mind. £3,000, eh? And that is the journey we want to make. So we might have to stop in a bank at some point, unless I can find some good deals. We haven't found some good market deals in a while. And we're down to £2,000 because I spent so much money on this leg. Anyways. The train started with a sharp screech, but entirely punctually. We shared our compartment with Sir Francis. My master made no secret of the circumstances of his journey, and our new friend clearly thought him entirely devoid of common sense. an uncharitable view, which did not endear me to him. Our wager was now in full swing. I began to worry over delays and obstacles, both imagined and real. Monsieur Fogg's cool-headed demeanor seemed incroyable. Incroyable. Right, that's a French word. And made me admire him all the more, sure. While stiffening my resolve to aid him in winning his wager at any cost. I slept fitfully, though the berths were comfortable enough. I had an uneasy feeling about our journey across India. Relations with Fogg have strengthened. Let's converse some more. Well, again with Fogg. Oh, I still have the Penny Dreadful. Should I read to you, monsieur? Please do, though I hope your taste for literature is of the improving kind. Calcutta. Center of opium trade. Let's talk about Singapore. I know that you can obtain betel nut boxes in Singapore that will sell for a fortune in Vladivostok. Okay. What's in our suitcase now anyways? Oh, dang it, I didn't get a choice. Today Sir Francis told me of the regions we were passing through. Monsieur Fogg, who was not travelling, but merely describing a circumference, preferred to reread his edition of the Morning Post. Did someone say opium? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you know the novels, again, we'll see what happens later on. I was more interested in acquiring new shoes. My chance came at the next stop, where I managed to lay my hands on a pair of loafers, slippers, or chapals. I don't know what chapals are. Kind of sandals? None of these will really make me endear me to Fogg, I think. Let's go with the loafers. Rather fine loafers. Monsieur Fogg gave my feet a glance of brisk appraisal. Okay, good. We made the right choice. Of rather fine loafers of buttery soft camel leather. Yeah, okay, good. So, we made the right choice. We might not have approved of the other ones. Especially the sandals, I think. Well, the loafers will actually fetch a good price. Really? Oh, I got a new suitcase even. Oh, dear me. The train Oh, that was a mistake to make then. If we got the silk slippers, I think they could have fetched a price later on. As a luxury item. Anyways, the train conductor woke us up as he passed along the carriages, shouting, "Passengers will get out here." Monsieur Fogg gave me a look, and so I hastened outside, and found that there was no more track. Apparently the papers had been somewhat overzealous in reporting the railway's completion. The track was altogether missing between Allahabad and Calcutta. Sir Francis looked quite ready to knock the conductor flat on his back, though my master betrayed not even the slightest hint of dismay. I asked the conductor, who merely shrugged and pointed towards the minarets of the city. "Everyone must organize their own transportation," he said, cutting off my remonstrations. A boy not long out of short trousers seemed to take pity on us, or at least had a wish to practice his English, and directed us toward a local merchant who had recently purchased a large mechanical elephant from Bombay. Yeah, indeed, just pretend there is enough track. So now we are in Allahabad. We're stuck here. I can't even go to the market. No departures today. What options do we have? Calcutta by elephant, minus 46 health. And £2,000. We can't even afford it. Yeah, let's explore. Allahabad was a charming enough town, though not, it must be said, a desired destination of ours. Beyond the city limits and between us and our goal lay the forest of Jharkhand, populated by tigers, pythons, elephants and, apparently, bandits. Monsieur Fogg was his usual phlegmatic self, but I was beside myself, no, could not share his calm. I was a man of cities, not the jungle. Benares by jungle car, that's also horrible. Okay, let's see if we can get down to Calcutta, and hopefully there's a bank there, otherwise we are very much dead. Oh boy, yeah, the mechanical elephant. I think that's the path we want to take, if you want to try to follow the novels, right? But if I go to a hotel, I don't think we can afford the fare. I don't remember how much this costs. It didn't cost anything. Oh, never mind. Oh, it costs £10. That's fine then. With the last light of the evening, I attended to Monsieur Fogg, providing him with clipped moustaches. At least he's gonna stay at full health as we go this path. Oh, embark. Mechanical elephant. We're down to £79. It was easy to spot Chuni, the mechanical elephant, as she was easily the largest creature, no indeed structure, in Allahabad, her owner's eyes lit with avarice at our approach. "My friends, do not make me commit to paper the sum that Monsieur Fogg paid for that elephant." I fairly burst with indignation at the exorbitant price. I muttered that she may as well be made of solid gold rather than forged iron, but my master demurred that gold was a most impractical metal for vehicular construction. All three of us, myself, Monsieur Fogg and Sir Francis, mounted into the iron carriage suspended within the cage of rotating gimbals which comprised her belly. The cage kept the carriage from pitching and rolling. with Chunny's iron-footed gait, like a gyroscope one could perch within. The mahout scrambled up behind the pachyderm's padded neck, and we set off in a straight line towards Calcutta. Uh-huh. We were 4 hours into the shortcut through the Jharkhand forest when the mahout called a halt. I listened out carefully. Beyond the rustle of leaves and birdsong, I could hear the sound of cymbals and bells, overlaid with voices raised in a chant. The mahout urged Junie behind some thick foliage and turned off her engine. He slumped into guttering silence. Through the branches I saw a group of priests who were garlanding a procession of armed men and women with marigold and jasmine. Some burned camphor while others smeared sandalwood paste on the devotees' foreheads. Behind the procession loomed a four-armed mechanical Kali with a polished black skin, gleaming ruby eyes, and a protruding tongue the color of blood. She brandished wickedly curving blades in 3 of her arms as she took each piston-driven step, and she clutched a young woman whose head, neck, shoulders, ears, arms, hands, and toes were loaded down with jewels and gems, and whose eyes were thickly cold. The mahout stiffened. That is the widow of the dead Raja. Sir Francis sighed. I have heard rumors that the Kali cult sacrifices humans. He looked very small and frail in the iron arm of the mechanical goddess, but was quickly lost from view. The mahout had begun to start Junie's engine when Monsieur Fogg said, "Suppose we save this woman." "How exactly?" I demanded with some excitement. "I see only one course." The project he then outlined was a bold one, not to say impracticable. Impracticable. Monsieur Fogg was to risk life, or at least liberty, and therefore the success of his tour to rescue the lady. I was ready for anything that might be proposed. As for my master, I perceived a heart. A soul under his icy exterior for the first time. We decided to wait till the early hours of the morning and spirit the woman away from camp when the mercenaries were asleep. Well, I'm glad you like it, Monet. So in this, there are many different paths we can take, but I'm trying to follow roughly the path of the novel. That said, we're kind of off track, because again, this is a steampunk universe, so we'll have very different experiences. But this one, of course, is from the novel, which is why I was so set on going through India. Even though we're down to 79 pounds, ouch. Okay, time to do some rescuing. Let's converse, because you know, we're planning a rescue, but so be it. Talk about Calcutta, to Voltaire, talk about Singapore to Brisbane? Yeah. Well, we learned some routes in South America. So how will the rescue attempt go, I wonder? We crept up on the Kali Bhakts as they slumbered in a clearing beside a ruined temple. There were guards patrolling at each corner of the camp. A stealthy rescue would be impossible. I was seized with a admittedly foolhardy notion. What do we do? Do we run into camp on the steam elephant? Or do we try to, blend in? What say you, chat? What could possibly go wrong with either option? You think this guy's won it? Are you sure you don't want to go in, you know, on a raging elephant? Okay, fine. Disguise myself as a guard. Fair enough, Vaughan. That is true. But it's a mechanical elephant, right? It's a steampunk one. To disguise myself as a guard. Together with Monsieur Fogg and Sir Francis, we captured a guard whilst he was relieving himself against a tree. His clothes were a loose fit, but serviceable enough in the dim morning light. I stole into the camp with soft, careful steps, but could not help a triumphant grin as I passed by without attracting undue noise. Notice, I found the young prisoner huddled in a sleep and reached out to her shoulder to wake her. My fingers barely brushed her tunic when I felt my legs swept out from under me. I dropped to my knees. Quick as a panther, the woman leaped to her feet and pressed the edge of a gleaming curved blade to my neck. Her lips were drawn into a grin, more bloodthirsty than a ladylike. "Good morning," she said in cultured English tones. "A pleasure to make your acquaintance." And so we came to be the prisoners of a Kali cult. In the forest of Jharkhand, the woman, Aouda, turned out to be the leader rather than prisoner of this band of mercenaries. They had risen up against the British after the death of Aouda's husband, the Raja. Despite her fierce appearance, she left me my journal and pen. My documentary efforts seemed to fascinate her. And she demanded I read her my recent entries until she came to this one, featuring herself, her brow wrinkled. We are not a Kali cult, monsieur. Erase that. Then what are you? Aouda gave me a sardonic look, which encompassed my scuffed leather loafers and my journal. What exactly are you? A traveler. You are a tourist, she corrected darkly. You have traveled into the middle of a battle, and you do not even know it. She left me with those words and moved on to interrogate Monsieur Fogg, who was attempting to sit very straight in his hempen bonds. As night fell in the forest, I pondered a life lived out here in the wilderness, with no collars to starch ever again. I hope this isn't game over. There are a few potential game overs, and I don't recall having this one before. So now we are the captives of Aouda. I mean, in the novel you rescue her, right? So they do change things around a bit. Awoke to a strange scene. Aouda and Monsieur Fogg were sitting at the feet of the mechanical goddess, sipping tea and conversing inasmuch as my master conversed. I shared a look with Sir Francis, who looked affronted, though that may simply have been the Englishman's thwarted desire for morning tea rather than any moral objection. Aouda laughed and placed a delicate hand on my master's elbow. Mon Dieu, she was flirting! This was useful. I resolved to use her distraction to find a way out of a rather unfortunate situation. I enlisted the aid of Armahout, who was, after all, a native and far more familiar with the forest and its environs. We made a plan to sham stomach pains and attempt to overpower the guards when they approached. Suffice to say, the only result was a sharp thump with the butt of one of the mercenaries' pistols. I slept uneasily, contemplating more drastic action on the morrow. Okay, this isn't going too great. When I awoke, Monsieur Fogg and Aouda were nowhere to be found. One of the mercenaries took me to a nearby stream for a wash, and when I returned, Aouda was standing in the middle of the camp. Monsieur Fogg was a few paces behind, looking as calm and unruffled as ever, though he kept glancing at the widow Rani. Mr. Fogg has explained your circumstances to me, she said, giving me a nod. I find your wager most amusing. We will convey you to Calcutta. I glanced at my master, whose cheeks were perhaps ever so slightly stained with red. It was the heat. No. A telltale sign. Though I would never be so indelicate as to suggest anything untoward had occurred between an English gentleman and a Rani turned outlaw. The five of us, my master, Sir Francis, the Mahout, Aouda, and myself, mounted the mechanical Kali, who carried us there with loping grace to the outskirts of Calcutta. I dare not approach the city. Your monarch has a bounty on my head, Aouda said, as for farewell. I hope you write my story well, Passepartout, she added, before bestowing a wink upon Monsieur Fogg. Good luck. I said nothing. Unable to wish her success against the institutions which my master held dearest, the crown, the empire, and, not least, the law. We walked the last mile or so and finally arrived at our destination, the prosperous urban city of Calcutta. Okay. And we are, of course, broke, so I hope there's a bank here, at the very least. And yeah, he's now feeling very unhealthy. He's down to half health, by the way. What can I plan from Calcutta? The SS Thunder goes tomorrow. For £9, we can actually afford that. That's £330, that's a bit more. And Hong Kong. That's what I really want to do. But we can't possibly afford that, so we are a bit stuck in Calcutta for now. Let's sleep first. The hotel was too expensive. We had no option but to curl up in a shady spot under a tree like wild dogs and try our luck outside. Halfway through the night we were accosted by a stray dog who curled up by our feet seeking a little warmth. Uh-oh. Yeah, Fogg didn't like that. And the market hasn't opened yet. Let's explore. Calcutta was an industrial city which had built its wealth on opium, textiles and indigo. But that was not to say it was uncultured. The chai shops which I passed by were all thronged with affluent babus and behenjis, discussing poetry and literature and the sticky subject of Indian independence. It seemed a natural outcome of events. And I said as much, to be loudly shouted down by several pro-British voices, who in turn were shouted down by those fervently in favour of self-rule. It was certainly a thorny issue, and I wondered if we would be able to avoid all the consequences of it. Where is the most dangerous right now? I asked, and a woman nodded. I hear the mountains to the east are teeming with separatists, she declared. They mean to attack Chittagong. I returned quickly to Monsieur Fogg, who was sitting staring into space with a faraway look. Perhaps he had not quite left our elephant behind. Okay, let's go to the market. The bank isn't even open. What's valuable? Well, I don't need the Indian. Well, I might need them a little bit longer. The Pacific timetable. Geometry equipment. So we have a bit of a problem here. I'm gonna go to the options screen just so I have time to consider this. We have items that are valuable in Chittagong. But we were just told that Chittagong is going to be attacked. So it's going to be dangerous to go there. But it would solve our money issue. So I don't know. We also have a few items for Beijing, but that's out of our way. Where's money in Manila? I don't really want to go to Manila. No. Worth a lot of money in Rangoon. I guess we're gonna try to head towards Chittagong and Rangoon then. Don't have a choice. I'll buy the geometry equipment. And I guess we'll see if we can... okay, we'll close the market. Can I afford to go to... Oh, it's already closed. Chittagong departs tomorrow at 9 AM. That's gonna be the goal. Wait, how do I get to Rangoon? Rangoon is down there. There might not be a connection there. But I guess we'll find out. I mean, there's a reason why this voyage is so cheap. But sure. And I can't go to the bank because the bank is closed. Wait, how many bags could we go on that? Could we have on that ship? Well, we're never gonna go to Manila, so I'm gonna sell that Penny Dreadful. I guess we'll sell some of these items. I need to keep that one. Indian shipping tables, I need that one still. Let's see if we can organize my inventory slightly. Traveling cloak. Well, that's 3 bags instead of 4. I think that's fair enough. We still can't afford an actual hotel room. Yeah, Mr. Fogg will not like this. Once again, we could not afford the hotel. We had no choice but to lie down under a bridge like the poorest peasants and try to sleep. Halfway through the night, we were accosted by a limping dog who curled up by our feet, seeking a little warmth. Okay, let's get out of here. Gonna go to Chittagong because obviously we want to court danger.